Welcome to part 20 of the 2018 NFL Draft in Review. Today we will be looking at the 2018 New York Giants draft class, which hasn't turned into a lot, but hasn't really been a bad class either, if only because of the first couple of selections. And this will bring us to the second pick of the draft, running back Saquon Barkley. And this came very close to looking like it was a dud pick, but Barkley has recovered nicely as the Giants have improved their offensive line, started using him more in a proper running capacity than forcing him to drag the running and passing game on his back. And so, as we see, we have those couple injuries in between his second and fourth years, and last year when he recovered pretty nicely, I believe this says overall third in comeback player of the year voting, so there's that. And overall, yeah, that was his second best season, I would say, after his rookie campaign, where the Giants were just leaning on him to a ridiculous degree. But now that there is at least some semblance of blocking in place, we'll see how he does, because he is only 25. He came in the league when he was 21. So he's still got some years left before, I would say, age and wear and tear starts to really catch up with him. So we'll see what he does in an intervening time frame. And we'll go over here to look at the highlights from this past season. I believe the Giants franchise tagged him because they're one of many teams that's a bit not strapped on cash, but doesn't exactly have the greatest amount of cap space either, so couldn't quite afford to give him the bag, and it's sort of a 1 year prove that you're back and not going anywhere sort of deal. But here we go.
Second straight start for the Giants inside the 10. And on first down, Saquon Barkley to the sideline. Barkley tiptoeing down the sideline, and here comes the speed. Barkley shoved out of bounds near the 20 by Kevin Byard.
That's part of why I like so much coming out of Penn State.
Barkley picks his way into the end zone.
Along with that, you know, he's got speed and he's got power. Makes for a very good running back.
So it's been Richie James who has stepped up in the void as Barkley up the middle. Saquon Barkley on the run. Ball poked free, and the ball goes out of bounds.
Though you would think that a team like the Titans would be a little better at containing a running back like that, considering they have to practice against Derrick Henry every day.
Here's one for Barkley. Long way to go. Some blocking out in front. Barkley doing what he can.
Oh, he got close.
Barkley. Nice cut. There he goes. Saquon to the end zone. Touchdown Giants.
Unskippable ads. Don't you love them?
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. At the tone, please record your message.
Outside, inside, we don't stop. Go worldwide, we don't stop.
Giants looking for their first half touchdown of the year. And Saquon Barkley's got a big hole into Chicago territory. From the 25-yard line, Saquon Barkley with a gaping hole, and Saquon Barkley is into Bears territory. Tracked down from behind by Brisker. He got a gain of 30. Wiping away the play, and then the 5-yard penalty. So it's 3rd and 9. Jones will dump it off for Barkley, who gets away from Morrow. Tries to make it a highlight. Gets a block from Jones. First down, Saquon.
There are not many
yards,
running
making
backs in this
brilliance
league
out
I
of
know
nothing.
that can do that.
2nd and 7, the direct snap to Barkley, trying to get to the edge. Oh, he sidled through an opening, and Saquon Barkley, great speed. Barkley inside the 40. The big play the Giants have been craving comes from the big playmaker. Go to the Sonic movies?
Yeah, he might not like that.
2nd and 10. Jones. There's Barkley in the open field. Oh, what a move! Saquon Barkley down the sideline and out of bounds.
Honestly, the league is lucky that Saquon's not that one step faster mixed with the strength of a guy like LeGarrette Blount, because otherwise, if he was that one notch higher up the board in both categories, speed and strength, he would be just unfair. So, I do think the Giants will eventually pay him after this coming season, and we'll see where it goes from there. So, with the next selection, the Giants picked offensive guard Will Hernandez, and during his first few seasons, I kind of heard this guy wasn't doing very well, despite being the full-time starter, so I haven't really seen too much of him play. I can't really say for sure, but he's maintained a starting role basically every season except for his third one. So I would say that maybe this is a flawed player, but he's at least good enough to justify continuing to start. We'll see what goes on as things progress. Yeah, I believe he's now with the Cardinals. Let me check real quick. Yeah, the Cardinals. Could be a free agent right now, not sure, but last team was the Cardinals. So, we'll see what goes on. That's one of those players that we'll see. Next up, we have linebacker Lorenzo Carter, and this has been kind of a progressive developer. He's kind of just getting better as time goes on. He initially started in the league, I believe playing outside linebacker to the Giants, where he wasn't really starting until I would say somewhere about midway through his second year, and he was picking up a pretty good amount of tackles. Not an elite amount of sacks, but just enough that, he's someone you have to block, you got to pay attention to, or the quarterback will end up on the ground. And now he appears to be a full-time starter. I believe that appears that the Falcons have also put him out outside linebacker. The stats show that pretty well, and he's doing all right. Had a pick 6 with the Falcons this past year. Not bad in terms of forcing and recovering fumbles. Gets a couple pass deflections here and there. Tackles are about what you'd expect of an outside linebacker. Kind of wish that he would get a little more production in the sack category because, outside linebacker, that's kind of your job. But we'll come over here and take a look at what he did this past season with the Atlanta Falcons. Good swat on that play. Nowhere for him to go. He seems to do pretty good in containing running plays that come towards him. the interception. Never slow down. If you even think you're close to offensive players how to play like that, do not slow down. There are too many receivers in the league that can do what that guy almost did to him. So, this is overall a nice bit for the Falcons to have. But I am of the mindset that Atlanta really needs to just stop lying to themselves. They've been trying to get back to where they were in 2016 for just so many years now. They're not getting any closer, it seems. They're just costing themselves draft position. Maybe they can start putting something together now if Desmond Ridder or whoever they play at quarterback turns out well, but I just don't really see Atlanta recovering without a proper tank. They're just one of those teams that the more you try to win, the more mediocre you're going to become. Might get you into the playoffs with the state of the NFC these days, but still. So, next up, the Giants selected defensive tackle, B.J. Hill. And Hill is another player who is no longer with the team, but has, much like Carter, developed into what appears to be a permanent starter for the Bengals. As we see with his general stat line, he started quite a bit as a rookie, did reasonably well. I don't really see why he wasn't starting very much his second year or third year. I would assume it was because the Giants must have signed somebody better or something. But then he moved on to the Bengals. Did really well on just a 2-game started thing. 5.5 sacks, 50 tackles. And last year he started all games except for one. And he got another 3 sacks, 68 tackles. Could be doing better in tackles for loss because, defensive tackle, you're supposed to be stuffing the middle on the run game. And that tackle for loss number implies they're not really doing that. But we'll go over here now, and this is from 2021, the year where he had 5.5 sacks.
And what we talked about is that slot nickel blitzer.
50-odd tackles or so.
Cousins is sacked at the 10-yard line. B.J. Hill coming over from the Giants. He wasn't on the list. We'll add him next time.
Right, you're so worried about Trey Hendrickson on the outside, you forget about B.J. Hill, who's right inside him right there. So there's 91. That's your big addition. So you've got all eyes on him. Nice job by B.J. Hill getting underneath the pads of Ezra Cleveland.
Yeah, solid getting Cousins before he can escape.
Blitz. Cousins is sacked.
Complete offensive line failure right there, and this is one of the primary reasons that the Minnesota Vikings have struggled so much over the last couple of years. They are not protecting Kirk Cousins, they are not protecting Dalvin Cook, and then you throw in a defense that gives up like 30 points a game. So, you want to know why the Vikings can't capitalize on shit? Yeah, it is not Kirk Cousins.
B.J. Hill with help.
There's only so much a quarterback can do.
Yeah, they're going to bring pressure off the edge, but it's actually B.J. Hill. He's going to get there on his own. He doesn't even need the help from Mike Hilton. You'll see 21 come in from your right side. B.J. Hill gets there before Mike Hilton does.
Country fumble, huh? From the 39-yard line, Montgomery with the carry into the arms of B.J. Hill. He runs to the... Too many bodies.
That's kind of what I mean, is that there doesn't seem to be a lot of penetration on some of these plays from the defensive line. It's a good job not letting up a lot of yards once it gets by the line of scrimmage, but you've still got to do a little more.
And he's being chased by Hill and taken down. Another
That plays a pretty good summary of Ben Roethlisberger's final last season in the league.
Losing 5. Hill, they acquired him in a trade August 30th from the Giants.
Well, I'll go back to once again talking about the coverage, and there was nowhere for Ben to go. Kevin, you'd brought up to me, pushing the ball down the field, and you've got to take some shots at a point in time, but you also know thus the ball floating out to the flat.
Then with a 2nd down and 10. Pocket crumbling, getting messy, and down he goes. B.J. Hill.
Yeah, this. He's a solid player for the Bengals to have. He's not really gonna put up gaudy numbers and anything, though. I would like to see him get a little more penetration on running plays, get a couple more tackles for loss than he usually gets. But generally speaking, he does well. He does very, very well for the Bengals. I believe it was mentioned he was traded to them, so that's a decent trade by the Bengals. It's a good defensive player to have. And this will move us along to the last 2 players of this class. 4th-round quarterback Kyle Lauletta, and I really don't understand how he was ever picked as high as the 4th round. Honestly, the career NFL statistics kind of says it all. 0 for 5 and an interception. And hasn't been in the NFL off a practice squad between the Giants and the... only one non-practice squad stay since the Giants. That was the Browns in 2021. And since then, he has been in the USFL, 1st-round selection by the Pittsburgh Maulers, and got released literally 3 months later. I mean, just, wow. How? And then the New Jersey Generals picked him up, and you see the statistics there. 31 to 63. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Not doing very hot. 4 games, 2 starts. As far as I know, he's still there, but I mean, that I would say that he's probably going to be the backup, all things considered. That is frankly impressive when you are so bad that even a lower football league will draft you in the 1st round and then immediately throw you out. And the final selection was defensive tackle R.J. McIntosh. 18 tackles in his career. He's been on the practice squad ever since he left from New York. So, not really much to say about this guy. But overall, the first 4 picks make this class pretty solid. As I recall, let me see. Forgot to check this before I did this. Yeah, I originally graded this as an A+ draft class, and I wouldn't say this is an A+. Saquon Barkley hasn't quite been the player that I expected. We've seen flashes of it, no doubt about that. He is a good player, but he hasn't quite been the league-dominating running back that a lot of people had him figured for. Will Hernandez has also kind of been another underperformer, plus Hernandez, Carter, and Hill are all no longer with the Giants, so it's mostly been a lot of the good talent went to other teams. So I would drop this from about an A+ down to about an A- class. It's still a very, very good class overall to have, but again, one of those teams that you've got to find ways to keep players like this. You can't just let talented defensive players walk out the door. If you need a improvement on offensive line, then maybe you should look at the coaching staff, which the Giants did this past year, and oh, look at that, they look a lot better. So overall, yeah, A- class, I would say. So I will see you next Monday for the beginning of the NFC North draft reviews, and that will be beginning, I believe with the Minnesota Vikings, who won the division the previous year due to, I believe, an injury to Aaron Rodgers, if I recall correctly. So, subscribe to the channel, like the video, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, will be in the description, and I will see you on Monday.